Happy Diwali and Happy New Year once again to one and all. As we always say, right, age is no bar for greatness. And Sharvanth, at age 15, just 15, yes, you heard me right. All the audiences who are live with us on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Instagram. He is a living proof. This boy here sitting with us is a living proof. And I would like to say about him is that he has published four books and fifth is on his way. He is already a record holding author, a junior journalist, and a tech enthusiast, using his talents to inspire the world around us. As Sharvanth himself says, creativity knows no boundaries, only possibilities. So let's hear from this prodigy who is none other than Sharvanth, a motivational speaker, a content creator, and achieved prestigious awards from R.N. Ravi, who is a governor at Tamil Nadu. So over to you, Sharvan. While we begin this program, this session, this live webinar, where there is whole lot of people waiting to get inspired, know more about you, I would love to ask you one very basic question. Why don't we start knowing your personal journey about how did you start? Because at the age of 15, you've already published four books and fifth is on its way. But where did this all start from? What inspired you? What gave you that, a little trigger or a kick or a spark that you want to start writing? Where did it all start from?
Hello, everybody. I'm Sharvanth here. I'm a 14-year-old young author, just turned 15. I've published four books so far. As she said, my fifth book is on my way. I'm currently working as a content writer. I'm a journalist. I'm also an editorial coordinator in different organizations. And I've also given a tons of various speeches in lots of platforms as well. Talking about my very own journey, how I started reading and how I started writing, it all dates back to when I was around 7 years old. That was when my father's friend said he was coming over. As an enthusiastic 7-year-old kid, I expected him to have books, I expected him to have chocolates, gifts, and whatnot. But to my surprise, instead, he had two books in his hands. That was the first time I was exposed towards storybook. Until then, I was still into my school books and academics as well. But that was the first time I was exposed towards storybooks reading on my own. Initially, I bought it, but then I wasn't that interested towards books since I said I was 7 years old. But I was like, why shouldn't I start trying out the book and why shouldn't I start reading the book? A few months had passed since then. And one day I'd come back from school. I was watching television and I was like, why shouldn't I start reading this book? The book was right on my shelf. I went towards the book, picked up the first book I saw, turned off my television, of course, picked up the first book I saw, and the book was about the army. It was about Paramveer Chakra, which is the highest honor that you can get working as being an army official. The book contained all the Paramveer Chakra holders, their inspirational lives, motivational values, and the amount of hard work that they had done in order to achieve such a wonderful and high honor in the army.
Yeah.
I went to the book. It was about all their stories. It was extremely motivational, inspirational to me as well. The book was so good. I went through it four times in a row. That much that book had an impact in me, and
Mm,
that much the book wanted me to continue reading.
mm,
My mother, she saw I was interested towards reading, and she got me to a lending library where I could start borrowing books. That was the first time I was exposed towards that big of a lot of genre of books, such a wide variety of books. And initially, I was overwhelmed, but I started reading more and more. I was able to get myself adapted towards books. I started off with simple classic books at the first, and then I made my way towards more and more thrillers, crime thrillers. I've also read lots of fantasy novels and whatnot. I've also read lots of fiction, non-fiction, and so on. I started reading when I was around 8 years old. That was when I was first. That was when I was first went to a reading library. And as I'm 15 right now, I've read for 7 years so far. I've read around 400 to 500 books, which is quite a personal inspiration and motivation for me. The books had created a sparkle within me in order to start writing. It was around 2020 when lockdown hit. I was confined within four walls, of course. I wasn't able to do anything much instead of sitting all day long in front of my PC.
mm,
That was when I got an idea to start writing. I have no idea how I got that spark, but I just wanted to try out something new. I wanted to try something new, and I always thought these great authors have read so many books so far, and all of these books have got so much attention. And I also wanted to try out something new. I also wanted to write something new and eventually publish my very own book. I came up with my own characters. I came up with my own plots. With all the books that I've read for the past 3 4 years, when I was starting to write. I read for around 3 4 years, and all the experience that I got from reading books that fueled me to start writing. I came up with this character called Rohan, who's a detective who goes on solving mysteries in a city called Airland City. There's only one a detective agency where they go on finding mysteries and they
Hmm.
solve thrillers, they solve mysteries and so on. That is how I started writing. That is the plot that had come up to start writing. And in that diary, which I had picked up, a random diary that I picked up to start writing, I completed over 41 short stories. There was a time when my father gave me the idea to start publishing books. But at first, heard it, I was overwhelmed because I thought at such an young age, there was no publisher was going to accept my work. And I thought my books wouldn't make that big of success since I'm still young.
Yeah.
But then, after lots of convincing, after lots of ideology, ideas and stuff, I started working on my first book. I took a few short stories from the books that I'd written, from the diary that I'd written.
Hmm.
I compiled it all, I worked on it, and eventually I published my first ever book. Starting from then, I started publishing my second, third, fourth book as well. And I'm currently working on my fifth book right now, just set to be published in quite a few months. Uh, Hopefully within 2 to 3 months. And I started getting opportunities to talk, to speak. I've given speeches before in lots of platforms, lots of schools, lots of colleges, and lots of podcasts as well. And that is how my journey goes. I started reading with an army themed book. I started writing with a random diary that I'd found, and eventually that had all fueled me, that had all sparkled me to start writing. And here we are today talking, and I think I've inspired. I think that's a huge personal achievement for me.
Thank you so much, Sharon, for a beautiful, beautiful introduction that you've shared about yourself in terms of your journey. But there's so much more between the 7 year and the 15 year, which you've just turned, right? So I would ideally take it as just the 7 years that has happened. And you said that you've read more than 450 to around 550 books. Where was this point where a person, because I've spoken to you and you said that you were never interested in reading such books, but where would this spark came that what made you feel that you should read this book? What inspired you to read that book? And then you went on reading many other books. Well, that's my first question. My second question is also it's very easy when people say that, I have published 4 books and five is on its way, but there is a journey in between. There are a lot of things which happen in between. It doesn't happen one fine day. When Sharvan got up, said that, I've written some stories and I want to publish, and people accepted, oh, why not? Let's do it, right? You said there were challenges, people, and you yourself had this inner belief that, people will not take you seriously because you were too young. So, what were my second question goes like this: those challenges that you were facing internally, how did you overcome those challenges? And then, what was the real challenge that you were facing from the outside world, and how did you work on each of it to reach today where you are?
Right. The spark that had fueled me to start writing and to start reading at first is quite interesting. Since when I was young, I was around 7 years old. My parents always used to tell me that each and every person has their own talents, has their own potential, and has their own skill sets. When I
Mm-hmm.
was around 7, I didn't give that much of thought towards my skill set since I had a lot of years to move on. But then when I started reading, I found the potential within me that I was interested towards reading and I was interested towards writing. That potential, I think, differs from one person to another. You may
Absolutely.
find it when you are in 7 years old, you may find it when you're 14, you may find it when you're 20, you may even find it when you're 50. It
Mm.
all depends to when you explore a lot of things.
Yeah.
I explored art, I wasn't good at it. I explored music, I wasn't good at it. But when I explored reading, I found out I was extremely interested towards it. I
Mm.
always believe that you should do something which you enjoy doing the most.
Mm.
Let it be reading, let it be music, let it be art and whatnot. I
Mm.
found interest towards reading. I
Mm,
found interest towards writing, and that potential fueled me to keep on reading and writing.
mm,
Initial potential, the initial spark that got me to this is my parents' inspiration to find my very own potential, to find my very own skill set,
mm,
and I ended up working towards it, and here we are today.
mm,
Going on to the second question, the challenges that I'd faced. Indeed, as I said, when I was around 11 years old, when I published my first ever book, I was overwhelmed. I thought my books wouldn't do such big of a success, or such big of it won't be. I thought it won't be good. But then I thought, why the spark that had got me into writing was the various authors that I've read before. I've always been inspired by them. I always wanted to publish a book like them. And I thought that success is continuous. You keep working on it. So that is how I started writing and I wanted to publish a book. The first challenge I faced was something that every author faces, that on every writer. It's called a writer's block, where you don't have more to explore on. For example, let's say I've written a story, but
mm,
some part of time, there's nothing more you can work on to explore
mm,
to expand onto your story. That is
mm,
what we call writer's block. So writer's block is something that I faced when I started writing my first ever book. As I've
mm,
said before, I've written all the short stories in my diary, but when I wanted to convert it into something that I could actually publish, I
mm,
found my first ever writer's block. I wasn't able to expand more onto the content that I've
mm,
written. I wasn't able to expand to create new ideas that would bring about a sense of mystery within the reader. But I ended up scrapping the entire thing. I ended up scrapping a few parts, started working on it again. And as I started working more and more, I started writing more and more scripts. I was able to eventually learn the script that worked the best. And that is what is inside my books these days.
How did
Writer's block is quite common, right?
Arun, sorry to cut you here because something very interesting you said that about writer's block. And this block happens to the best of people. It's not only about writers, but even the course creators or the coaches, or rather, even in the corporate industry, everyone reaches a point where they don't know what more to do or how creatively that they can, put things forward. So this block happens to everyone. I think the sector or the situation varies. Ha- And you also mentioned that you started to keep writing, where you understood that there was a point that now this is something that will be appreciated by people or liked by people. But the gap between the two, the block and continue to writing, because once you reach a block is also like reaching your saturation point of creativity or thinking. And how did you start back again? Where did you start back again, thinking that let me do it or let me explore, or whatever was that communication that went internally with you which made you to continue to still write until you reach the point that this is now the best content that could be that people could like or love about.
All right. So internally, I was fueled by the passion to write, but that didn't fuel me throughout. It was a support that I got from my parents, my teachers, my friends, who helped me throughout my entire journey. So without my parents, of course, I wouldn't have started writing. I
Mm,
wouldn't have started reading. They had ones that fueled me to start writing
mm,
and reading.
mm,
Their inspiration, their motivation, it fueled me to write, and bring about something to them, something that I could do from my side. All the time that I'd spent, all the time they had spent to get me books, they had traveled long ways in order to get me books. All the time that I'd spent in order to get me books, in order to fuel me to write, the ideas that they had given me throughout, it
mm,
fueled me to keep on writing. Even though I experienced writer's block, I wasn't able to write more on it. I had
mm,
always thought about my parents, my friends, and teachers who had
mm,
been constant support throughout my journey. And for them, I want to do something. And that is how I started, and that is how I wanted to keep on writing. And that is how I ended up scrapping my entire thing. I worked on a new type of content, and that eventually got me to write. Yeah.
Beautiful, Shravan, because people kind of miss this in their process, that everybody, it's not one man army, it takes entire, there is a saying that it takes a village to raise a child, right? To make your dream successful also it takes lot many people, and it first starts with your parents and the first teachers or the group of teachers that you have interacted with. At the same time, and I also call this as an environment where you're brought up, because you kind of realize that what an effort, what emotions, what kind of energy it has been spent by your parents in helping you and supporting you to, make you where you are today, right? While you have all the talent, but that talent was explored by your parents. So greatly appreciating your parents, your teachers, and the bottom line is the passion, the dream, the desire that you wanted to do it for them first and then for yourself. I think that really is where the lot larger leaders also people talk about, there are many types of leaders, but the leaders who are able to influence are the one who thinks first for the society or for the audiences, for the people, and then for themselves. Or probably they think that what they do for others, for them it will be a byproduct eventually. So beautiful, beautiful. A 15-year-old boy saying this is impressive. So if you are a parent, please know what you need to do from here for your child. And if you are a teen, or even a millennial for that matter, the clarity this boy has is rare to find. So look forward for your passion and see what you can do for others through your passion. It's not about what you want, it's how can you impact the larger society. Beautiful, beautiful. Yes, yes. Sorry to interrupt you there, Sharvan. You may continue.
Right. As I was saying, yeah, that's about it. The quiet, the external motivation that got from my parents, my friends, and the values that had given me, had fueled me to keep on writing. So yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where you reached your first book. And what age did you publish your first book?
When I was around 11,
Le-
I was moving from 10 to 12, 10 to 11. Yeah.
So how many months or years did it take for you to publish your very first book?
My first book, it took me about a year. My
Okay.
second book, it took me about an year as well. And each year I get to publish a book. So it takes me about 6 months to write a book. And it takes me another 6 months to the publisher in order to proofread, in order to get all the works done, on
Mhm.
all the processes required to publish a book.
Mhm.
We do everything within that 6 months. I write the books for the first 6 months. The
Mm.
next 6 months I work on the book and they get it done within a year.
Wonderful, wonderful. Uh, while you see, you're also a student, right? You go to school, you prepare for it, and many of us we have our own set of daily routine that we have to do it. Like for you, it's going to school, working for your exams, working for your homework, and similarly, people like us who do our daily course of duties as a parent, as a work, employee or an entrepreneur. Uh, while people aren't able to follow their passion because they always keep saying that I don't have enough time, they aren't even they don't even have time to work on their health. That's what they say, I don't have enough time to do a workout or prepare my meal that could fit my health. How did you manage doing all
Yeah.
this? Daily writing. I'm sure you wouldn't have written like one fine day sat and wrote the entire book. There would be something that would have keep fueling you and inspiring you. And, the wheel needs to go on continuously. So how did you make it happen? How do you do that, rather?
All right. So I strongly believe that everybody has time, right? There's a lot of time that they can work on. Doesn't mean you're always confined towards a particular time. You're always busy. There's always something that they can work on. I initially I'd also had a time constraint where I wasn't able to spend time writing and reading. But then after quite a long time, I came up with an idea through which I was able to schedule all my work.
Hmm.
I ended up scheduling everything that had come towards me. I spend about 30 to 1 hour reading. I spend another hour writing, and the rest of the time I do my own chores, my homeworks, my schoolworks, my academic, etc.
Hmm.
So I strongly believe that scheduling your work is a key way through which you can manage your time as well as you can able to get all the jobs done within a particular day.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I'd found the importance of about prioritizing your jobs, right? So you always do the hard things first, the
Yeah.
things that require your most attention. You ended up doing it the first,
Yeah.
and then the things that you require least attention or those that are quite easy to you, you ended up scheduling it towards the end of the day. This is
Mm-hmm.
because if you complete all your easy jobs in the when you're most productive, you'll be least productive when you are going towards the most time consuming hard tasks. But if you're able to complete all your hard tasks when you're most productive, you'll be able to give more priority towards the tasks which are more easy. and you'll be able to complete it late towards the evening. So I strongly believe that scheduling your work and prioritizing your tasks is quite a wonderful way through which you can manage time and you can get all your jobs done within that particular day.
Why did you say manage time?
Yeah, I said, managing time is quite a hard task for everybody, but scheduling and but scheduling and prioritizing your tasks is indeed a wonderful way to manage time.
Do you go to play also, Sharvan, daily? Do you play or you just keep doing all of these activities which you have scheduled based on your goals?
No, like as I said, it is indeed important to spend time both writing and reading the academics as well, but it's also important to spend time for yourself. I strongly believe in that because after all, we are not machines. We cannot keep working on our tasks. We also need time for ourselves. And of course, every day I spend time for myself as well because without that, the next day I'll be too tired to keep on working on my career. I'd be too bored to say in order to keep on working on my career. But the time that I spend on myself every day, that fuels me to keep on doing more and more each day. And of course, to everybody watching this stream right now, do spend time on yourself. It's fine if you miss out on a few tasks today, but if you miss out on your mental health today, you'll already be able to get it the next day. Spend time on yourself at the same time, get all the tasks done within that day.
I love it what you said. It's in a very simpler way of saying that self-love and self-care is first while
Yes.
you work towards your goals and dreams. And beautifully you mentioned that, eat that frog first, which you mentioned it as, do your hard task first. So I would love to know, Sharwant, which kind of books do you read? Because you write books which are more towards, animated, cartoony characters. Uh, More inspiring to kids and all, but it seems that you read books which are beyond this. So tell me, what kind of books do you read?
Right. So I'm currently into the genre of mysteries, crimes, and thrillers.
Mm-hmm.
So to get into that genre, I ended up starting reading. I started reading crimes, which was initially for young children, but
Mm.
then I started working my way up towards other crimes, thrillers, and so on. So I've read a lot of genres. I said I've read around 450 books, right? I've explored a lot of genres in that time, which includes fiction, non-fiction, holocausts. I've also read lots of mysteries, thrillers, and whatnot. So all this genre that I've read, it has fueled me. It has given me the idea towards publishing. Has given me an idea on how to write a book. After all, it has given me the way through which I can explore my own book. I can work on my own book and eventually publish it. Right? Yeah.
Beautifully spoken about prioritizing, eating the or doing the hard task first, having a list of your goals and all. So I would want, before we move ahead, do we have any questions coming in? I would request my team to let me know if there are questions that people would want to ask this little boy who's been speaking so much with clarity, so much of motivation, so much of knowledge sharing, which usually lacks even in the millennials. And the young boy is saying us so many, many things. I love talking to you, Sharvin. It's amazing. It's like, having a refreshment of your own set of things that you need to do. It's like, reading a motivational book, rather, I would say. It's like that talking to you. So beautiful. I am having a really good time having a chat with you. So, do we have any questions coming in? Okay, so we'll wait while people are gonna type. Uh, yes, and we'll move forward meanwhile while we get the questions coming. Yes. So, tell me, what's your do you actually read any motivational books? Do you have this, or this all comes all naturally? It's all there in you, or there are any dull moments where you go back to look at something which gives you motivation, that push to keep going again?
All right. Talking about motivational books, I'm not that big of a fan of non-fiction since I've grown reading fiction books all along. I've read lots of fiction. I've read lots of animated. I've read lots of stories and stuff. I wasn't that much big of that much fan of non-fiction. But talking about motivation, I said earlier, my all my motivation is external from my parents, my friends, from my teachers, my friends, from my relatives, etc. All my motivation is external, and another source of motivation for me is, of course, books. I treat books as a person itself. Since I'm able to connect to it, I'm able to I'm able to learn a lot from it. I'm able to connect with it. I find books quite a wonderful way through which I can get myself motivated. Whenever I read books, I want to write books, and through that way, that way that fuels me to keep on writing. As Anne Frank once said, paper has more patience than people, right? So you can spend hours writing on a paper and you never be tired. You never feel bored because because you're able to give all your thoughts, all your ideas, all your secrets within a book. But that's not the same with a person. You may tell it to you may tell it to a person, but they might end up forgetting it. But a paper never does. Paper indeed has a lot more patience than a person. Yeah.
What a depth, what a depth. So, are there any core values and beliefs that guide you every day?
The one core value that drives me every day is creativity. There's so much to explore in the field of reading and writing, and the constant innovation that I get while reading and writing, that is associated with this field, it keeps me driven. It keeps me want to write more and more. Since writing is an enormous field where there's lots of styles of writing, there's lots of ways to write. There's always creativity associated with it. So I think this core value called creativity, it has fueled me throughout to read and write.
And this creativity, how so create, like you said, there is something called as writer block. But it happened to you once, or it keeps happening to you? Because creativity is in writing, especially you're writing fiction, right? It's all blasted with creativity. So how does this creativity keep coming every time? And even if you get to a block, how do you keep inspiring yourself constantly? Not the first time, but constantly.
Right. Uh, I think each writer blog, it gives me an idea on what I should work on the next time. The same goes with my feedbacks, the reviews I get. Even if I get a bad review, I end up working on it. I find what's the issue, and I end up making it better the next time. I
Mm.
always believe that each book that I write, there's always difference. The difference between my third and fourth book is indeed enormous, right? Since I've been able to learn a lot between my journey from my second to third book and my third to fourth book. The same goes with writer block as well. Each time on writer's block, I end up finding what's the problem. I end up working on it. I end up finding a way through which I can work around it, and make a way around it and find the issue. 'Cause that is how that fuels me to keep on writing, even when I get writer's block, because I know what the issue is. I know what I need to work on in order to be better the next time. That gets me through each writer's block. That's what I think.
So will it be fair, Sharvand, if I said that you look towards feedback as opportunities to grow and do better the next time?
Of course, that's so true. Yeah,
Yeah, and you look for solutions rather than looking at problems or mistakes or what went wrong.
exactly. Yeah.
Beautiful. How optimistic, and this is exactly a pattern of a growth mindset. And I think you've just started your journey, and where you're going towards is you're going to be not only a great author, but I believe a great leader with whatever you do. What are some goals you're working towards right now?
As I said, I'm working on my fifth book right now.
Mm,
It's about to be published,
mm,
and as I've said earlier, there's a huge difference between my fourth and fifth book. My
mm,
fifth book, it's pretty long. It's longer than my fourth book,
mm,
and it has more plots, more twists, and more scenes that I would allow to put in my fourth book.
mm.
But the fifth book, it has given me an opportunity again to write more, to explore more, and to get myself and to create new products as well. The fifth book is about to be published, and I'm actually really looking forward to it. That is my current goal as of now. My other goals include writing for magazines. I've
Hmm.
recently started writing for two organizations,
Hmm.
where I write about general issues, global crisis, etc. Those are my other goals that I want to work on. I also want to work on more speeches, more platforms, more podcasts, of course. And yeah, that's my future goals. Since I'm in 10th grade right now, I've put a little more effort towards my academics. But I've said before, I schedule all my tasks beforehand. So I'm able to work on both my academic as well as my reading and writing. So that's how it goes. Yeah.
So I think that's a discipline that drives you and keeps you going every single day without giving it a miss. While you mentioned about your books and your goals, I would want to know two important things. One, would you love to mention the book name of the books and where people can find those books? Because there are so many other who would be interested, like you, in reading mystery books, and your book could be a go-to book for them and to read and explore and have some fun around and thrill around it. At the same time, you mentioned about your goals, right? You said that your fifth book is your current goal, but I've also known that you write more about, the ecosystem when it comes to talking about minerals and all. So, but I would want to know what is your thoughts around it, and so that I do not give more pointers here, and I would let you to speak on that front.
Okay. The first question where I read what I started reading with crimes and thrillers, right? The first book that I'd like to suggest to all enthusiastic readers is Sherlock Holmes, quite a popular detective who has done a lot.
Hmm.
And the author, whose name goes by Arthur Conan Doyle, is such an inspirational personality to me, since he has written wonderful stories on Sherlock Holmes. I've learned a lot about mysteries, about detectives, and whatnot from that book, and that has inspired me throughout.
Hmm.
Other books include Gorky Park, which is another crime thriller that has been very inspirational to me throughout my journey. And yeah, that's about it. And there's also other books like Harry Potter, which are quite classics. So the Hunger Games, which is another classic, of course. So all these books that fueled me throughout, and I think all enthusiastic readers are starting to read. These books could indeed be a wonderful way through which you can start your reading journey and eventually start writing as well. On to the
So
next question.
before
Yeah, right.
the next question, I wanted to ask that which are the books that you have written? What is the name of your book, and where can people find those books?
Okay. My first book, it goes by the name The Abysmal Thief and Other Stories. Second book is The Devious Person. My third book, it's called The Magical Blitz. And my fourth book, it's called The Shadow Lasonist. My fifth book, I'd like to keep the name hidden, but it's about to be published soon, right? So I think all the readers can find it really soon. So you can find all my books in both Amazon as well as Flipkart. It's available both Amazon and Flipkart, and you could also find my books in the book fair in the Emerald Publisher bookstall. I go to book. I think book fair is a wonderful way through which I can like meet other readers as well. I go to book fairs every now and then, which happens especially during January and February months, in Chennai, right? So I go to book fair once each year, which it occurs each year. So I go to book fair each year and I meet a lot of readers, and I end up giving my books to others as well. I think I can meet. I think the people who are watching right now who are currently in Chennai can meet me during in the book fair, the Emerald Publisher stall, when it occurs in the coming month of January. Yeah,
Thank you so much. Yes, over to you on the next question.
right. So the next question was about the global crisis, right? Like the
Yes,
minerals.
yes.
Yeah. So recently, I got an opportunity from a company in Japan to start to write about the global crisis which occur around the globe. As we are aware right now, there's lots of crises on water resources. There's crisis on minerals, energy exploitation. There's crisis on biodiversity, loss of biodiversity. There's also crisis on animal welfare and so on. I think it's a wonderful way through so I can share my opinions and my thoughts about the various issues that we face, the various things that we do, which kill the habitat of such wonderful animals. As we know, tigers, which are quite densely populated in Nepal and India,
Mm,
during the 19th century, there was about 185,000 tigers, but as
mm,
of right now, there's about only 1,000 to 2,000. So
mm,
there's a huge there's lots of poaching, there's lots of killing of tigers, and there's also lots of trade in wildlife. And I
okay.
think by writing about them, I'm able to share my thoughts. I'm able to bring about awareness to others and to work on saving our environment, to work on creating a wonderful platform for the future that is to come.
Hmm. Sure. So, I mean, it's incredible not only that you're an early author, but you're also being talking about the various ways how you can impact through your writing. You're using the same medium of writing to talk about global crisis as well. And I have read your recent article on minerals, which is beautifully simply put about your ideology, your thoughts, and what people should be doing about or taking care about in a way so that we can protect our minerals and the level of exploitation that is happening right now. So, do we have questions? Pramit, do share us over here as well on the post so that we know which questions are there that we need to address. And what is the advice you would give to others who might want to follow a similar path? Like you did mention about reading some books, but uh, in certain genre, but is there something more that you would like to share with people?
Right. I strongly believe that success is continuous. There's no way you can reach success, but you can always push yourself further in order to reach it. You can always push yourself further and further. Even if you think I've reached success, there's always something more to be explored. There's always something more to be worked on. And there's always something more that you can push yourself to. So you can never reach success, but you can always work towards pushing yourself to it. That is one key advice that I'd like to give to all the viewers who are watching the stream right now. Another thing, as I've said earlier, different people have different potential. The only way you can find a potential is by exploring lot of stuff. I explored the field of reading, and I was able to. I found that I was interested towards reading. The same may not be true for a person who's interested towards art. They may be interested towards art, but they may not be interested towards reading. If you force them in order to go into the field of reading, they will not enjoy what they do. But if you get them into the field of art, they may enjoy what they are doing and may eventually become the eventually become a great artist in the future.
Hmm.
Yeah. So right. So although all the parents are watching this, the first thing that you need to do is to find out the potential of your child, to
Hmm.
find out what they're really interested in,
Hmm.
and not and inspire them in order to follow that career path, in order to follow that path. One may be interested in one thing, but they may not be interested in another thing. Find what your child is interested into, and do and inspire them to follow that path. So that's one advice I'd like to give to all the viewers who are watching this right now.
So, oh, great. So beautifully put for parents as well. I have a one question which is coming. What happens when you don't feel like writing or doing it? What do you? I mean, that's an interesting one. I believe you've mentioned it in a certain way, but I think it's a very direct question. What happens when you don't feel like writing? Because you have a routine, like you said, and you do follow the discipline, the routine that makes you keep writing every day, even when you're in your 10th grade. So, what happens when you don't feel like writing or doing
My other hobbies are sports, of course. I enjoy playing badminton, I enjoy playing cricket, I
it?
enjoy playing a lot more games.
Hmm.
I'm I'm athletic in a way you can say.
Hmm.
Some people they acquired surprise when they hear that I'm both a writer who's bookish, who spends all of his time inside reading books. The
Hmm.
same time I enjoy going outside and playing as well,
Hmm.
right? So that's quite a dual characteristic of me, in which I enjoy reading as well as I enjoy playing out, going into sports and spending my time in sports as well. So right, yeah, that's what I do, and I don't feel like reading or writing. I end up spending my time outside. I end up playing sports, and I do my academics as well. So that's how it goes. Yeah.
So you don't push yourself hard that, today I'm not writing, I'm missing on my schedule, and You don't be hard on yourself.
Right. As I said before, mental health comes first. If I don't feel like writing, I ended up doing what I like the most during that time. But since I like writing the most, I spend most of my time reading and writing. But when I do feel like I don't want to write,
Mhm.
I spend time on myself rather than pushing myself to read and write.
Okay. How does Sharon, so much of clarity comes to you at this age? Like so crisp, so clear, knowing what to do, what not to do. If this is not working, doing something else, or if this is the challenge, looking for solution. There's so many things that you've mentioned which comes with only absolute clarity, because only then you're peaceful, you're satisfied, you're motivated, and you keep going towards your goal. So where does this bottom line of clarity comes in place?
Right. So I'm going to be truthful here, right? Since when I had started, right, though I was interested towards reading, I wanted to spend my time in social media and whatnot. But the one person that had been pushing me throughout is my mother. I wanted to be truthful here since without her, I wouldn't have had such clarity, such dedication towards reading and writing, of course. My mother, she had pushed me throughout. Even when I didn't want to write, she pushed me to keep on reading and writing. To push means not to force me, but she got me into the field of writing that helped me to develop myself and to develop my interest towards it. So without a constant push, without a constant support from my back, she had helped me throughout, and without a constant support, I wouldn't have had such clarity, such dedication, such determination to keep on writing and reading.
Can you explain this word push in a better way? Because push usually people would take it in various ways, being saying that you just have to follow, you have to do it, you have to do it, even if you're not interested. So push, how does that push made you feel positively act on it, and rather than being too being challenged or nudged or forced?
Right. So
Because
mother,
after all, you would wanted to maybe play, just sorry to interrupt you, wanted to probably play, be on social media, do something else, right? Especially at the initial stage where you were not, did not launch yourself. You were just starting your journey. So what was that push that made you feel, no, I have to stop that and do this, or rather I have to keep going, whatever it was. Please be very crisper, clearer, and even if required, broader in explaining that, because that is something really people would want to know, and I would really absolutely want to know, because push for me is not a very positive word if I hear it that way.
yeah. So, right. To push means she gave me the motivation to keep on reading and writing, because as I said before, I wanted to explore social media. I wanted to go out and play as well. But without my mother, who had been constantly supporting me throughout, I wouldn't have started reading. So to explain in a more broader way, she always led me to spend time on myself. At the same time, she wanted me to keep on reading and writing as well. I wouldn't say in such a way that she forced me into it, but she supported me. She was a guide throughout the entire journey. She helped me throughout, and she was a helping hand towards my journey towards reading and writing. So, as I said, in a positive tone, of course, she pushed me to keep reading and writing. She supported me throughout the entire journey. She was a helping hand. She was a helping hand to help me through all times of crisis. And that's how I like to put the word push.
Would you like to share a moment where you think that this, I mean, she pushing you helped you to change your mindset, your course, your direction, where you were not going in the right way? So would you like to share a moment with us?
Yeah. So to all parents out there, of course, right? It's okay to you should push you should push you should push your child into doing what they enjoy doing the most. As I said before, potential is something you find by exploring a lot of things, and you end up finding the one thing that inspires you the most. The parents should be helping and throughout the entire journey, supporting them throughout what they enjoy doing the most. Since my mother found that I was interested towards reading, she helped me throughout the entire thing, and she helped me to keep on writing. She went through lots of lending libraries. even during the period of lockdown, when we were all confined within four walls, whenever we got time in order to go outside, my mother, the first thing she does is go to the lending library, and she gets me books to read. She gave me a huge stash of books I could read within a particular month. And the next month, she spends the time going to the library again and get me the books that I want to read. So in such a way, she has supported me to read even during times of crisis. Instead of spending time safely within the home, she went outside, got me the books that I wanted, and each month, and ensured me that I enjoyed the entire process of reading. So huge thanks to her for being a push that I'd ever needed.
Yeah, so grateful that you are. I think gratitude is also one of your key values that is very visible and evident over here. So, apart from writing, is there a way that Sharman you want to create an impact on the larger society?
All right.
Is it
Uh,
a silly question to ask you, or you have actually thought about it?
I've actually, I've given this answer in lots of speeches before,
Mm,
and I think the one way that I can inspire a lot of people is through speeches,
hmm,
right? Since I'm able to share my own values, my own journey, I think through this way I'm able to inspire each and every person who's watching the stream right now, and I'm able to inspire all the audiences who had heard my previous speeches as well.
hmm,
I think through speech, through public communication, to public speaking, I'm able to reach a wider audience. I'm
hmm,
able to talk to a wider audience, to inspire a wider audience, and work on the path or work on the career that they find the most inspiring to themselves, rather
hmm,
than being forced to do something. So I
hmm,
think that's how it goes. I think speech and public speaking, podcasts,
hmm,
and other speaking platforms, they're a
hmm,
wonderful way through which I inspire lot of readers, lots of
hmm,
writers, and lots of young people who want to achieve as well.
hmm,
I think I've found my both of my friends, two of my friends, they
hmm,
had started publishing books as well. So I think through that way, I've inspired them in such a way for them to start publishing as well. And I
hmm,
think that's a wonderful way. I think that's a way through which I inspire them,
hmm.
and they have started publishing books as well. So I'm very grateful about it. I think I've inspired more and more people through lots of speeches I've given before, and yeah, that's it.
Great. Just to round up this conversation today, is there something more that you would like to speak about when it comes to the platforms that you have got access to? Because there are multiple platforms where people usually don't get access to. So, would you like to share the platforms that you have spoken? You're a young journalist that you are today. So, the papers that you write for, I would want you to mention that so that people know that at this age, usually you don't have to be over educated or educated or have a degree or a certificate to be in a particular job or a role. If you have a passion and you follow, you get opportunities from not only India, from global platforms. So, Sharvan, I would want you to mention that to people, the kind of opportunities that you have today, the places that you write, the places that you speak, so that it's another level of inspiration that people can get if they follow their passion, if they know something that they are good at, if they know that they're chosen one for something that they know which is unique in them, they can go on exploring and do wonders for themselves and for others. Yeah.
Right. My first ever speaking platform was this platform called the Half Brick.
Mm,
Uh, During my first ever speech, I was extremely nervous since that was my first ever speech after all, to a wider audience. I was initially overwhelmed with that big of an audience, but as I ended up giving more and more speeches, I was able to be more clear and more confident while I speak.
mm,
So my first speech, The Half Brick, it went well. I was able to publish my third book in that platform, and that was my first ever book in a big stage.
mm,
So that's my first speech. I've also given speeches in lots of schools, amongst people my own grade. I was able to inspire a lot of people in that way as well. I've also given speeches in colleges, in schools, and other social media platforms like Joestock. Joestock is a platform in YouTube where it's another way I can inspire a lot of people through my speech. I was given opportunity to talk in Joestock, and that was one thing. I also given talks in a lot of podcasts. I've also given talks right here, through which I'm able to meet through a lot of platforms as well. So that's the lot of speeches that I've given so far in schools, colleges, and other speaking platforms as well. Talking about being a journalist and writing to lots of organizations, it's not easy, I think, since there's lots of effort that you have to put towards towards journaling. Many people think it's quite easy to write to be a journalist, but I strongly believe that it's a huge task. It needs a lot of experience. It needs a lot of talking to with people who are previously experienced, and it also needs people creativity or intuition as well. So journalism is not an easy task, and as I said before, I've got the opportunity to journalize, to talk about global crisis from organizations in Japan as well as from other Indian organizations as well. So being a content writer, being a journalist, and being an editorial coordinator, it has all been a huge part in my career as a writer.
Thank you so much, Sharvan. Thank you very much. It was indeed a quite an enlightening conversation with you, an inspiring conversation with you, because something which take years and ages of experience for people to learn, understand, and maybe multiple downfalls to pick up and go keep going. You have summarized it beautifully in just our, I believe, 55 minutes conversation. And in the age of 15, at the age of 15 years, with 7 years of experience to be very precise. So thank you very much. Thank you very much. And thanks to all our audiences for tuning in today. Because I hope the intent of our podcast or interviews is just to inspire more and more people from everyone's journey out there, so that y'all can learn, y'all can get that beliefs, those values, that inspiration which has stopped you and you're capable of, that can keep motivating you and keep inspiring you to keep growing. So I hope this episode sparked some insights and inspired you with some new thoughts in your journey. Because remember, growth and clarity are an ongoing process, and every step counts. So if you enjoyed today's discussion, don't forget to subscribe us on YouTube, which is mindful underscore baddest underscore TV, our Instagram and Facebook channels as well, and also follow us on LinkedIn, because you will keep getting regular updates on who's coming next and what is the journey that they're going to share with us. And to watch this full video, you can also follow, like I mentioned, you can subscribe our YouTube channel, where you'll get the complete interview sessions uploaded there very soon. So thank you so much once again, Sharwan. It was pleasure, and happy Diwali and happy New Year once again to all of you. May
Thank
this
you so much,
Diwali
ma'am.
inspires you more and more towards your goal. Thank you very much.